Hi and welcome back to my channel. As promised on my last video, I'm going to be doing a review and installation of a new rear view mirror from Hansshow. I'm pretty excited about this. As everybody knows, on the Cybertruck, the rear view camera, or excuse me, the rear view mirror is pretty much useless, right? If your cargo cover is down, your tonneau cover is in the closed position, you can't see anything through the rear view mirror. So I'm going to show a couple different pieces when I do this video. The first section is going to be just the rear view mirror delete. Tesla made it really easy to just take the mirror off completely. When we take it off, which I'll show you how, there's actually a little flap that they leave in there that you can close, and it almost makes it look seamless if you decide just to take the rear view mirror off and leave it that way. So I'm going to show that. In addition to that, I'm going to be installing this rear view mirror. Again, like I said, I received it from Hansshow. I'll be leaving a link down below so that you can get more information and some huge discounts off on if you decide you want to do it yourself. So on the front, I'll kind of go around. It kind of shows the features here: auto light sensor, full screen touch, crash detection and record, NLC, which is highlight compensation, which is really if people have their high beams on, it gives you some discretion there, and it's supposed to be a lot clearer. And see-through rain and fog, so it's supposed to be, everybody knows that on the cameras on the Cybertruck right now, that we're seeing a lot of rain and fog issues. Headlight issues, gets really blurry. This is supposed to help out quite a bit. It has two cameras, one for the front, one for the rear, and this is supposed to really help out with that. Again, we have ultra wide field of view. There's supposed to be a 5x zoom on there, front and rear video. So again, we're going to have a camera in the front, camera in the rear. It's 1080 full HD. It has the WDR, which is the wide dynamic range, gives you that wider view. And then it's going to have the low light level for night vision, which is going to help us out there. So opening it up, comes with just a little welcome letter there. The mirror itself is right here. It is going to be a little bit bigger than what's in there now. And here's what it looks like there. So as you can see, here's where your HD card's going to go. That's what you get there. So, and we'll show a lot more of it in the vehicle. And then it's going to come with everything that you're going to need to install. I'm sure I'm going to be using some more of my tools. I'll give you kind of a listed description. There's the extension. This is going to be the cord that's going to take you from the front of the vehicle all the way back to the back camera. And then again, it just has some more tools in here that you're going to need. You're going to have to pop off some of the pieces to get underneath to run these cables. And I'm going to show you the easiest way to do that. Again, lots of extra little parts and pieces that you're going to need for the install. This is going to be the front camera, I believe. And then here is the rear camera, I believe. But we're going to show those to you on the install. Again, I'll show you the delete first, how to delete the mirror completely, and then I'll show you the install on this. Again, super excited about putting this thing in. I've been waiting a while to get this thing installed, as again, that rear view mirror right now is useless. So I'll meet you out in the car. See you. All right, we're in the vehicle getting ready to do the install. I've laid out a bunch of stuff on the dash here. I'm going to go over with you real quick. So here is what comes inside of the kit. These tools I just brought myself. They did not come with the kit. They're just basic stuff. So the one I'm probably going to use the most is going to be just this little pry tool here. But there's just miscellaneous stuff. But really, what comes with it should be able to do the job. I just like to use my own little pry tool sometimes. So it comes with two cameras. So there's going to be a front and a rear. You can definitely tell by feeling the cameras which one's which. So this one here is going to be the front camera. It's going to be mounted just right up in here. And it's just a lot lighter. It's more of kind of a plastic housing that's on there. Because that's all that's needed. This one's a lot heavier. It's a metal housing, metal bracket. This one's going to be out in the elements, and that's why it is so much needed to be heavy duty. So really, really heavy camera. You can tell it's really good quality. It does come with this this Torx bit here. It looks like a T20 that it comes with, which was nice. It's actually a really nice quality T20 driver there. The mirror itself, obviously, it has a splitter here that you're going to use, a mounting bracket. It does come with this so that you can open up the little parts and pieces that we need to get to. Again, I'll probably use my own tool, but it does come with one if you need it. It does come with an extra sticker. I guess it's in case one of the other ones fail. It gives you an extra one to use. It comes with some what they call PVC tape. It looks kind of like electrical tape that's probably used to wrap around the wires. There's not going to be any wires exposed or anything, but this is probably just to help kind of get all the wires together. That's probably what I'm going to use it for. It does give this extra bolt here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to be using this for. My understanding is that I'll be able to use the original factory one bolt that we need, but I will see during the install if we're going to actually need that or not, because I think I can reuse the factory one. And then this extension here. And that's everything. It looks like a pretty cut and dry, simple install, and we'll go ahead and start it now. So to start, again, this first part of the video I wanted to do is just kind of the delete. So here's obviously the rear view mirror. Doesn't really serve a ton of purpose, as you can't see anything out of it unless your tonneau cover is open. Really, besides seeing some people in the back seat, that's about as useful as it is. So if you wanted to just remove this, all right, we're going to go ahead and start with the removal of this mirror. I'm going to just kind of bend this into the up position so I have the most room available. It comes off super quickly, so if you are trying to just delete the mirror, look how simple it is. I'm going to use my little tiny pry tool. You just get up under there for this little piece here. It pops open and it literally just comes off like that. Super, super easy to take off. The next piece is you're going to use this driver that they give you, and you're going to put it in there. It sits kind of to the right-hand side. If you look up under here, you could see it kind of sits on the right. It's not in the center. It's kind of on the right-hand side a little bit here, and you're just going to unscrew that. Once you unscrew that, it comes off. Literally, that's how easy it is. Once you take that off, again, if all you're looking to do is delete that mirror, they leave you this little flap here, which is awesome. All you're going to do is just close that flap. I'm not going to close it all the way because I need to still continue to work in here. But if you were going to just do the delete, you would close that, and it gives it that nice, clean, flush look, and you'd be done at this point. Literally takes you 60 seconds and your mirror's off, and it finishes clean. So that's the first possibility. Again, we're going to be installing the mirror, and we'll do that next. So here in a second, I'll be taking off this housing and going further in the install. All right, now that the mirror's off, the next step is going to be to move the visors. We'll slide that out of the way there. We're going to take this one off here, move that out of the way, and then you're gonna grab it here, and you're going to be able to squeeze and just kind of pull it down. And this whole thing should come down there. There you go. The whole thing just comes off like that. Pretty easy. We're going to let that just hang there. The next thing is going to be using your pry tool here, and you're going to take this cover off. And again, it comes off fairly easy. So both of those are going to be hanging here. And I'll show you the next step here in 1 second. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to be adding this little pigtail here. And it's going to go on this piece here. So as you can see, there's the little white part here on the right-hand side. That's what we're going to be going after. I'm just going to remove that. And literally, you're just putting this in between. So you could see that there's a female end here and a male end here. So you're just going to take your male end here, slide it into there, and then you're going to take this other piece that you unplugged, and you're going to use that to go in here. Super, super easy. That's all you need to do for that. So the next part that we're going to be doing is going to be installing. We're going to take the camera, and then we're also going to be taking the mount that they provided, and we're going to install that. So I'm going to take this screw out here. Again, this screw was already provided here through the outside. and getting it ready to go from there. I'm going to show you something a little bit different that I plan to do on this one versus what it says in the instructional video. When you put these things through here, they're going to come through, obviously here. We're going to have to let this thing hang a little bit until we get everything going. Everything has what it needs to hook to here. It's pretty self-explanatory. So you can see on here, rear camera, front camera, and then this is just going to be kind of your main power. So the main power piece is going to be here. So we're just going to go ahead and hook that up and make sure we line up the pieces here. There's only one way it can go on, so as long as you're lining that up, it'll just go ahead and snap on. Super easy. The one thing that I was going to do that's a little bit different than what they say there is going to be, they tell you to take both pieces kind of out of the back here. What I'm going to end up doing is for the front camera, I'm going to leave the front camera hanging out here. Because I'm going to mount the front camera right here, I'm going to allow this just to kind of go underneath. There's room here that it doesn't touch the glass, that wire is going to be there. Instead of running it down the side where you're going to be able to see it, which is like what it says in the instructional video, I'm just going to bring it right through the front. I'll show you how that works here. And then the rear one, here's your rear camera. It says our camera on there. That one is just going to come through the back here, because we're going to end up running it through here and then up into the headlining. So again, this stuff is just going to plug right back into there, and it should all go back up pretty easy. Again, you might need to mess with the wires a little bit just to make sure everything's kind of out of the way and where it needs to go before you snap everything back in place. But again, ideally, what I'm going to do is have this thing hanging out for that front camera. Ultimately, what I'm going to end up doing is on the front camera, when I hook this thing up, actually I'll just do it now, I'm going to take this camera and probably get all the wiring in here that I can. And then I'll end up taping this up or zip tying it up in here so it's all out of the way. I'll stop the video for a second and come back to it. I'm just going to take this time real quick to zip tie everything out of the way. I want to stay out of the way of this heat sink. Obviously, there's a piece here that the heat sink wants to kind of be up against. I'm just going to make sure all the wiring's out of the way. I'll show it to you before I snap it back up, but I'm going to take a second just to tape everything up where I want it. All right, I'm going to show you how to put the mounting bracket on here. It's going to be facing forward this way. You're going to just set that thing on there. Put the screw that comes with it on there and screw it like so. It has little side tabs on the side, so it aligns itself. You don't have to worry about it being misaligned because, again, it does align itself on there. You will notice as well that once you get this thing on there, you will notice as well that this is a little bit offset. It's not in the center. And you can see up here, the screw is a little bit offset. So it is to the left. Same thing, this is going to be over to the left. So that you know that those things are going to align when you put the screw through. So on here, you're going to need to wrap the wires around here. They're going to have to pop in through the front there. And then we're going to continue putting this thing on. So I'll be back to show you this thing going on as well. All right, want to show you what I've done here. So they do recommend that you have a couple people do this install. It just makes it a little bit easier. I did not do it. I wanted to do it by myself. So if somebody was doing this video and install by themselves, they'd be able to see what it really takes. What I did is I kind of pulled all the wires through here, as much wires as I needed, and then I just taped it here so that they couldn't go back down any further. And that kind of allowed me to do everything that I need to do. So, you know, I put some tape on here just to kind of keep these together. I'm going to be tucking these underneath when I snap this back up. Same thing on the front camera. They want you to go through the back and run it down the side. I'm going to keep it in here. So I'm just going to be tucking these up here, doing the install of the camera here, and then tucking whatever's left over underneath here. So that's what I've done. So you can see now that everything's just kind of taped up in there and the wires are there. Oh, the other thing I wanted to point out too was the little flap that we talked about earlier that was for the delete that needs to close here, that thing just needs to break off. It breaks off really easy. It's perforated so that it just comes off, but that does need to come off. You can't do the mount without breaking this piece off. So if you decided to go back to just the delete from this camera, you'd have to buy a new piece here. But that little piece, or actually you could just leave it there if you wanted to. It's a nice clean break, so that piece comes off so that the mount can go in there. So once all that stuff is done, again, you're just gonna kind of feed it back, make sure all the wires are kind of out of the way and tucked where you want to keep them. I'm just, again, gonna bend these kind of in the back and slowly push this back on. And you can see this is just kind of hanging there. There is a couple of those wires that I've already been working with. But again, oops, one of those wires had tucked there off to the side. Wouldn't let that clamp, but once you do that, it just snaps right back into place. Again, oops, I'm gonna be tucking these. I'll probably have to work with this for a little bit to figure out exactly where these wires need to be. But there's plenty of room in there to be able to do it. So once that snaps back up, again, I'm going to end up doing my camera install here. I think they say to put it on the windshield. I'm not going to. I'm going to put it here and reverse the camera around. Just in case I do want to take it off, I feel like it's going to be a little bit easier. Or if I need to move it or replace it, I feel like it's going to be a lot easier. Again, here's the rear view wire. This, again, is going to feed up through here. It's going to end up in the headliner. We're going to do that next. We'll put this thing back on once I get done there. We're also going to be screwing this up here in a second as well. So I'll be back in 1 second. All right, and then you can see I've positioned the wires. They've got a wrap around the front of it. And then this is going to slide into here. The other thing that I realized that I needed to do was I needed to take this screw here, and I took it out of the original mirror. So it's a little bit longer than the other ones that they provide, and it makes it long enough that it'll actually grab the threads up there. So I did have to use the original screw out of the original mirror to get it up there. So again, this should be the end of the install for here until I need to run the other cameras, but I'm just going to screw this in to the hole here and should be done. Okay, so now you can see I have the mirror tightened up nice and tight there. This part is still hanging as I'm going to be running this cord up into the headliner here in a second with that extension. And I also, just taped use that 3M tape. This is the extra piece, but just tape the front on there. So you can see that camera is just stuck to the plastic piece. You do have the option to either go onto your windshield if you'd like, but I wanted to keep it right there on the plastic. And then you can kind of see, just ran that cord underneath and it went right through the front. There's a little tiny gap, as you can see in here, that the cord just comes right out, no problem. So next I will be running the extension cord to the rear camera. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to be attaching the extension cable to the rear camera. There's only one way that this can go in. There's a little notch out here, and you'll see the same marking inside here. It's a male and female, and it can only go together one way. Then what we're going to do is bring this up in here and just kind of tuck this thicker part in here behind here, and the headliner piece just kind of pulls out a little bit right there on the corner, and then the rest, it just tucks in. It tucks in really, really easy. So it seems like it's almost magnetic because it goes right back up, but you can see how easily this thing goes into the headliner here. So once that's done, again, I'm gonna just put this back on. So I'll line that. All right, and again, we're just gonna kind of maneuver this around and lock that into place. You're all done there. And then we're going to continue to run this wire. So we will move this mirror out of the way again, kind of put it back to where. All right, what I was able to do was I just started it, right? So I left all the extra here. I started it in this corner. I pulled the little gasket down here and pried this down just a little bit with my hands. and I fed it enough through there that I was able to see it come through, and that's going to eliminate being able to see this cord completely. I'm going to pull this through. I'll show you a shot from the other side now. All right, so you can see here's the other end of it. It's come through here, and so I'm just going to continue to feed it. So I just pulled this down. This just pops off with your hand real quick. I'm not going to do a ton of it because, again, I want to keep this to be secure. I know that I have to get up into this lining here from the outside, and so that's what I'm going to do. There's this little rubber lining that I'm going to stay in, but I'm going to go ahead and pull this through. Just going to keep working it through. Some of the other videos that I've seen, you could see it from the underneath, but I believe this way you're not going to be able to see it at all. So once we pull this through, again, I'm just going to take my time. Don't want to damage the cord. Don't want to damage anything else. There's a ton of cord doing this. But let's see here. Okay, we're coming to the end here. And again, I'm just going to kind of finish tucking everything underneath here. It's all through. There's literally nothing you can see underneath. It's all completely hidden. And now really the only transition is going to be to come out of here and then up into this this gap here. I'm going to end up feeding it back behind here, and I'm going to run it all the way across the back. So I'll be back in 1 second. All right, we're to the back here. I'm going to go back and show you kind of a final where I ran the cord, but it goes up here. It's super easy to run the cord. We're going to be coming around and going back down underneath. But right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take off the fender flare because we're going to want to be under there. All right, taking off the fender flares here. They just snap on. So they'll, at the same time, they're just going to snap off. And that's how easy it is. I started this back corner with my hand at the same time. Just, I don't want them obviously to break, so just slowly working it around. And that's it. There's your fender off. And we're going to go ahead, run the wires through. We're going to come around, get in here, and then we're going to go back through the bottom to get that final installation of the camera. All right, the second part of removing this fender flare is going to be, I grabbed a 10 millimeter socket, and we're just going to go around and remove all these. So it just takes a little bit of extra time on the install, but it'll make it just so much cleaner with running that wire, making sure it's all completely under here. And it looks like there's one more under there. Okay, I believe that is it. Oh, one more under here. And that should allow you to remove all of these pieces. There is some tabs here that I'm going to have to punch out real quick. Once I punch these tabs out all the way around here, then these pieces are going to be able to just move out of the way. I was trying to see if I could just kind of fit back here with the cord, which it looks like I probably can, but I'm probably going to end up just taking these off anyway, just to give me a little bit more room and be able to look at everything cleanly. So I'll be back in 1 second. All right. So I've run the cable behind here. What I ended up doing was I left these two pieces on. You know, you still need to take the bolts out so you can pull this back and run it back behind here. It's going to come around to the other side. But I ended up taking out the pins here because I wanted this this piece off because this is where I'm going to want to work. So I'm going to take the cord here, and you can see daylight if you look through there because I've taken off that trailer cover, the hitch cover. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab all the cord and feed it down in there. And then ultimately, once this is down in there, I'm going to reach through where the trailer hitch is and pull it through. And I'll be able to pull it snug through there, so I'll just put this here for now. So if you want to come around back here, now I've taken the cover off already. If you guys don't know how these things come off, when the trailer hitch cover is on, it's underneath. You just get a big flathead screwdriver. You do a quarter turn on each one, and it comes right off. It's super easy. They just turn quarter turn, and they're in there. It's going to be the same thing when I put it back on. Quarter turn, and it'll be locked back into place. But if you look under here, if you look through here, you can see all the way through there. I'm going to just reach back there with my hand, and I hope that I can grab that cord. I believe that I can. All right, and there it is. Was able to pull it through. So here's the end of the cord there. There's going to be a bunch of extra slack. I'm going to end up taking that slack out, zip tying it or taping it up. And then here's for the rear camera. Now the rear camera, what I'm going to end up doing is on the bottom of this is I'm going to, even though it has the sticky tape, it does have some areas that you can screw it in as well, I believe. I'm going to end up putting it on the bottom here. That way, in case I do decide I don't want to have the camera there for whatever reason or have to do a replacement, I could just buy a new piece, or I could just leave it. It's underneath. Nobody'd ever see it anyway. But this is where I'm going to mount the camera. So I'll be back in 1 second to finish that up. All right, so I came inside to mount the camera on here. What I'm going to do is I made sure that was nice and clean right there. I took the sticky tape off here. I also took the mount off of the camera. Because I'm going to not only use the sticky part, but I'm also going to use the screws they provide to screw it in there. So I know that the camera is going to be facing this way in relationship to the mount. So I'm just going to find the center. I'm going to take it to pretty close to the end there, stick it on there. And as that thing is settling in there, I'm going to take the screws that they provide and get those screwed in as well. So those nice and tight there. Nice and tight there. Between the sticky pad and those screws, we shouldn't have any problems there. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole. I'm going to drill a hole right behind there so that the cord can run through. So I'll just set it back maybe around here so there's plenty of room to make that corner, maybe halfway between the two. That's it. Make sure that can fit through. Go maybe just a little bit bigger. And that should be able to slide through there. Yep. We'll just go one more size up on the drill bit. This should give us plenty of room there. There we go. And then once that's through there, we're going to go ahead and mount this camera back on. And I believe this is going to be the top because it's going to have towards the sun, it's going to want to have that reflective barrier there. So I knew that this part needed to be up. So we're going to mount that back on. And that's it. The camera is adjustable, so once we put that back on, I'll be able to go up and down. I'm probably not going to use a drill to finish tightening it. I'm just going to make sure that they're hand snug, but that should be the end of that, and I'll meet you back out at the car. We're back out here to finish the install on the rear camera. And we're going to line up the pieces here, plug that in. I've already taped this up just to get a lot of the excess out of the way. And as we tuck this back in, there's plenty of room back there for it to sit. So, you know, again, to put these back in, we're just going to align those little slots where they go. I'm going to get right under here with the screwdriver. Oops. There we go. There we go. All three of those locked in, and we're all done. So the only thing left to do now is going to be kind of adjust this camera. I'm going to go ahead and pull the tape off of it real quick. The little protector on there. If you want to follow me around to the side, I'll show you putting these things back on. So you can see all the wires hidden. I'll do one last little bit after I'm done here. Once I get this piece on, and I'll show you exactly where I ran everything. But we're going to be done here in a second. I'm going to put this back on, end up bolting this back together, and then snapping the kit back on. And I'll be back in 1 second. All right, so we put this piece back on. I've put both of the pins back in to hold that piece in place. And we're going to go through, put it all back together. Same thing here. We'll see what's going on with that one here in a second. All right. This one is not wanting to go back on. very easily. I'll mess with it and I'll be right back. All right, we got that last bolt on, and so we're going to be snapping the exterior piece back on. Just trying to align it all before we get it started. And that's it. Just snaps back on and everything's good. So to show you where everything went, the cord you can't see at all. It ended up coming underneath here. Then it goes up into the wheel well where I showed you. It comes up inside of here. So it's all in here. It's behind the plastic here. It's behind this lip here. It goes up, it's underneath here. It goes behind this lip, and then it runs all the way through underneath this lip. Across. You can see a little bit of the wire right there. I'm going to end up tucking it back under there a little bit more because it will hide under there. But that's it. That's all you can see. It goes underneath here and then into the headliner where we started. But that's the complete install. It is all completely done. I'll come back in just a few minutes and show you it activated and what it does. I will say that you gotta know your way around tools, and it's not super easy, but it's not super hard. Ultimately, with the tips and tricks that I showed you on how to do the install, it's probably going to take you around 2 hours to do the install. The hardest part is going to be running the wires and then also just getting that mount working back into the original hole there. But other than that, it's been pretty seamless, pretty easy to do. I'm super excited about how it's going to turn out with its features, but I'll be back soon to show you that. All right, I wanted to do a quick demonstration of how the mirror works and go over the features and benefits real quick with you. So as you can see, it's just a rear view mirror right now. It's reflective. I really like that feature so that if you don't want a video going, if you don't want to look at the front, you want to use it as a regular mirror, you can. And you just turn it on that way. Same thing, you turn it off, you turn it on. I have it on a timer to where it shuts off after 3 minutes. I'll show you the different settings that you can do. This right now has the front camera on, and you can see you can move it around and get it where you want. I just went right over the top of the dashboard and left it there. And then if you slide, that's the rear. You can do the same thing on the rear. You can go all the way down, all the way up. So you can set it wherever you want. And then you have a split screen here, which is cool. You can watch both of them. So on mine, what I did is I did add the SD card on the side. For those of you that are going to be adding the SD card, which you're going to need for doing any type of recording with this, it is a little bit different than putting in a normal SD card. You have to put it in there, and I actually had to use a little tiny screwdriver to push it in there. It sits in there pretty deep to where you can't push it in with your finger. You do need a little bit of a tool to push it in there. But once it's in there, it's just the micro SD card. It works perfectly. So to go through your settings real quick, you got your little shortcut. When I first put it in there, it asked me to format the card. You can just format your SD card by pressing that button. I've already done it, but if you see, it just says that all the data will on the card is going to be deleted. Are you sure I want to format? I've already formatted it, so I'm going to hit no. And then boot display, and this kind of just tells you if you want to have the rear view or the front view on. I have it on the rear view. Going down, you got DVR. The DVR here is just exactly what it says. If you want to record, I can start recording here. Another thing you can do on this thing is you can take a picture. So I just took a picture there. You can hit this button here if I wanted to start recording. And you could stop it there. This is for sound. So if I wanted to turn that off, the microphone, so it's not recording sound, I can do that. And then here is, if you are recording, that is to lock the recording in. And then you have brightness. So you can kind of mess with the brightness here. I have mine all the way bright. You can also use a slider here to adjust the brightness. So that's your settings there. When you go into the playback mode, this is going to show whatever you're using. You can look at the front view, the rear view. You can see on mine it says photo because I took that photo, and there's that photo that I took. Really, really good quality. Super impressed with the both cameras, front and rear. I've been using it out on the road, and when you compare it against the normal cameras that the Tesla has now, it's night and day. It is a lot better on these. I would say what I like the most about this camera, to be honest with you, is I actually have my tailgate down quite a bit because I use this truck as a truck. And when you're in reverse and your tailgate's down, you have no rear camera. And this, because of where I mounted it underneath, I still get to use this rear camera, which was really cool. I'm going to delete this photo that I took there. Pretty easy to use. Again, here's that I can delete there. And again, if I had anything on the rear, same thing. The video that I started, there's going to be the video of the rear that I did. I'm just going to delete that. And then you have your settings, and the settings you just go through, and they're all self-explanatory. Loop recording, so it's always recording. I chose 3 minutes. You can do 1, 2, whatever you wanted to do. I just chose 3. I don't know really what I'm going to do with that, but auto switch to rear view. So if you do go into different settings, it'll automatically come back to rear view. I just have it off, but you can see the different settings that you can do there. Sound recording, I have on. Time-lapse recording, I have that in the closed position there. If you go to general, you can do screen clock. So I had the screen clock. I thought that was kind of cool. You can turn that on and off. The beep, you can hear the beeping as we're going through. I have it on. Volume, you can set the volume on that. The auto screen, I have a 3 minutes, which it shuts off. So after 3 minutes, if I have not used my mirror, it will shut off. You can turn that on or off. I wanted to keep it there just in case I wasn't really using it, that it would turn off and save battery. But all you do is you just touch the screen, it turns back on, or you can just leave it on all the time if you want. Gravity sensing, I did turn on the gravity sensing, and that kind of auto adjusts the cameras as you are going up and down hills. And then it has the rear flip. If you do install your camera, if you do need to mount it a certain way and it's upside down, you can flip it and make it right side up there with the rear flip. And then front camera, this is more of when you hit this, if you want to disable it. So obviously I'm not going to disable it, but you can turn your front camera off if you'd like. Date and time, date format, for 12 hours, you can do 24 hours if you want military time, factory reset. Format the card, that's what I did. I actually went to this setting here and reset and reformatted that card. It was a brand new card, it had nothing on it. I put it in there, formatted it. Only took a second. Firmware version. Firmware version, if you do want a new version, you would need to take your SD card out and get the new version downloaded on your SD card and then put it back on there. It would be nice if this had kind of a Wi-Fi feature or Bluetooth, but it doesn't for any of those versions. But it's just one extra step if you want to do a new version of your firmware. And then your system update, again, self-explanatory. It has to do with if I'm going to update the system using new firmware, that I put in the card, the SD card in there with the new firmware or update on there. So I'm going to hit cancel on there. And that's it. That's everything on this camera. Again, I'm super happy with it. It turned out really, really awesome. The camera quality, the usability, I'm really excited about it. You know, when I first hooked this up, I didn't know for sure that I was going to like it. Honestly, I have my other camera, I have my other rear view mirror. I thought, maybe I'll just throw that back on there if I didn't like this, but I'm really, really happy with this. So hopefully this video helped you out. I hope that you got some good tricks and tips to help you in your install. If you would like to get whatever the best possible deal is on this camera, I have a code that is going to be down in the description. You can use that. You'll get whatever the best deal is at that time. I know it's a minimum of 20% off if you use my code, but use that code and you're going to get whatever the best deal is that you can get. It'll also help support my channel. Again, hopefully this was helpful for you, and I will see you on the next video.